The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, confirmed to Fox News Digital that its investigations unit is probing a Virginia educator and his brother for allegedly plotting violent attacks against ICE agents. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said Kempsville High School Assistant Principal John Bennett and his older brother, Mark Booth Bennett, were overheard at a Vietnamese restaurant in Virginia Beach discussing plans to travel to Nevada and attack ICE officers in retaliation for what they called kidnappings during recent immigration enforcement actions. According to McLaughlin, the men talked in detail about obtaining a high-caliber rifle capable of piercing bulletproof vests, calling the plot chilling, especially coming from an educator. John Bennett has been with the school since 2009 and is now on leave. The case began when an off-duty Norfolk police officer overheard their conversation on November 17th, in which they also mentioned killing police officers and meeting like-minded individuals in Las Vegas, where Mark planned to buy firearms with explosive rounds. On November 19th, Mark Bennett was arrested at Norfolk International Airport while traveling toward Las Vegas. John Bennett was arrested the same day as authorities at multiple levels coordinated with DHS to intervene.
Democrats now launching an ICE tracking system. Congressman Robert Garcia and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass announcing the, quote, immigration enforcement dashboard. Listen to this.
We already have over 250 documented instances that are now live on this dashboard, and we're working with numerous organizations to also ensure that we are getting the right information on the site. Importantly is that the public can also now submit possible actions of misconduct on the site, and then they're reviewed by our committee, then to be posted for the public.
Let's bring in DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. And Tricia, you know, we've already heard about opponents of ICE and their operations, tracking movements on these apps that have proliferated across social media. Now we have the official imprimatur of the House Oversight Committee on the Democratic side saying, this is a government operation. We want you to report on what you think is improper behavior on the part of ICE and other federal agents. What do you make of this?
Exactly, John. This looks like a one-stop shop for hoaxes, for smears, for lies against our law enforcement. This is a U.S. congressman. His job is to advance the interests of the American people, and he's doing anything but that. He continues to vilify our law enforcement. He's really putting politics ahead of public safety. If he cared about public safety, he would be tracking these rampant vehicle rammings against our law enforcement by violent agitators and by the aliens themselves, the criminal legal, what the crimes are against the American people. Instead, this is another fundraising ploy for this individual, and this is a way for him to get on MSNBC. We already have Blue Sky and MSNBC for this one-stop shop for smears. We don't need any more tactics.
I just want to put up the website so folks at home can become familiar with it. As you heard at the top here, Congressman Garcia says that they already have 250 complaints of alleged improper behavior on the part of ICE. And my question is, if they are soliciting information from the public, will it go through a vetting and investigatory process, or will it just be posted up there? You know, some of them might be legitimate, but a lot of them could be just hearsay, or some of them could be downright malicious.
Well, I wouldn't expect much less of this congressman, unfortunately. We've been seeing time and time again politicians and the media themselves pushing unfounded hoaxes that ended up being completely untrue. We see this with the New York Times, we see this with the AP, and they'll continue to do so. But there's real world consequences, John. You and I have sat on this program time and time again talking about the 1,000% increase in assaults against our law enforcement. We're seeing law enforcement being stalked, their family members being doxxed where their kids go to school, where their spouses work, and that's going to continue happening until these politicians really look in the mirror and take responsibility for the rhetoric they're putting out there.
Also wanted to ask you about this piece in the New York Times. It's a rather sympathetic piece about an illegal alien who's lived in this country for a couple of decades, who's been living by stealing other people's identities. Here's the headline: 2 men, 1 identity. They both paid the price. Thousands of undocumented workers rely on fraudulent Social Security numbers. One of them belonged to Dan Kluver. Dan Kluver is a guy who lives in Minnesota, out in rural Minnesota. who got pulled over in a traffic stop one day, and the police officer said, looked at his Minnesota driver's license, and said, "This is weird. You've got a suspended license in Missouri." And that's when he discovered that this fella named Romeo Perez Bravo, 15 years earlier, had stolen his identity. But the crux of the piece is, poor Romeo Perez Bravo, that he had to resort to this, as opposed to Dan Kluber, who's now living with the consequences.
Oh, and paying thousands and thousands of dollars to the IRS because this criminal illegal alien stole his identity. And here you have the New York Times twisting themselves into a pretzel to try to make a victim of this criminal illegal alien. And those watching should know what the rap sheet is of this criminal illegal alien. He didn't just steal the identity and the social security number of this American citizen, but he also has convictions 4 times for DUI, for terroristic threats, and a conviction for assault. This is not an individual you want to be your neighbor. And then yet the New York Times continues to whitewash the facts. But John, this is what we're combating every single day with the media. They want to lie to the American people. They want to smear our law enforcement, but we will continue to fight back inch by inch.
Yeah, and here's the way the New York Times documents this fellow's history. As you look there at the number of convictions and deportations he's had. He lived under enough names and numbers in the United States that they started to blur together. Vincent Trujillo, Ronaldo Guerra, and then for more than a decade, Daniel Kluver, the name he used until he could barely remember what it felt like to exist as himself. Romeo Perez Bravo, 42, a Guatemalan immigrant who had spent most of his adult life working under borrowed identities. And again, the consequences of this for this poor fellow Kluver, I mean, he was gainfully employed, but he wasn't making that much money. But the IRS came to him and said, "Hey, you made a lot more money than you're telling us you made." And it was because this other fella was making money, and so it all went into the same pot. And so he had to, as you pointed out, pay thousands and thousands of dollars to rectify things with the IRS.
Exactly, John.
Yeah.
It really... Thank you so much.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
It really underscores, though, illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. These illegal aliens often rely on these stolen Social Security cards to really make a life in the United States of America. And besides, behind every single Social Security number is an American victim, a mother, a father, a family member. There's real personal and financial ends to this.
All right, Tricia, great to see you. Thanks so much for taking time with us. I know that you're already back home for Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving, John. Thank you.